Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we have some breaking news. I saw this a couple hours ago, but now the story is changing a lot with every second about the Iranian President Raisi's helicopter going down in remote area and rescuers trying to reach the site. Immediate false flag, red flags go off in my head the second I see this. I mean, come on, they've been talking about killing him for a while. They've been pushing this idea of pushing into World War III and creating, order out of chaos here. Of course, them being an ally of Russia, as well as going after Israel. And of course, all of the above is part of a grand script, because they're saying his helicopter went down. First, they say it was a hard landing, that he was fine, that he carried on in a vehicle. And now they're saying he could be dead. We don't know what happened to him. Was he even on board? It's a really crazy, out of order kind of story that's coming out here about his helicopter going down in Azerbaijan. So we're going to go into this today. Before we do, I urge people to check those links below. Things are getting crazy. Get prepared today before it's too late. Go to heavensharvest.com for long-term storable food that's non-GMO. There's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and of course, you get 5% off, as well as free shipping in the United States. So make sure to check that out. Again, this is a way to save yourself from the Great Reset, save yourself from the food rations and carbon credits, social credit, 50-minute cities, CBDCs, all these things down the line. So if you don't get prepared today, you'll be on the inside looking out, and you won't be able to escape later. So please take this seriously. Also, thanks to anyone that can help support us in any way. We got gogetfunding.com, Patreon, Subscribestar. We got a Bitcoin address, and we have a Cointree link with a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in if you please, including privacy coins. Thank you so much to anyone who's helped us thus far. We literally couldn't survive without you. We're in Kosovo right now and just trying to do our best to survive after giving up our home. But we do this for the truth. So thank you to everyone that helps support. Now let's get into this. So Zero Hedge says, Iranian President Raisi's helicopter goes down in remote area. Rescuers trying to reach site. At the same time, we have this out of Vanguard. Just in, helicopter carrying Iranian President Raisi crashes. But we then have this out of the Sun. Iran president helicopter in accident. Unknown if Raisi on board, says state media. But state media is saying multiple different things. Helicopter carrying Iran's president experiences hard landing, and they said that he carried on in a vehicle after that. Apparently, somehow he crashes into mountains, and then after bad weather and fog, apparently, and then suddenly a car comes up and he's good to go. It doesn't make any sense. This news is all over the place. They aren't giving us a strict storyline, but they all seem to have their own narrative, which tells me that a lot of it is being just made up out of thin air. Apparently, Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian was also on board this helicopter. None of this adds up. And of course, this is right after Iranian lawmakers declared that Tehran obtained nuclear bombs. Biden is facing criticism for failing to impose pressure campaign on Iran as it races towards nuclear war. Of course, again, this is all by the script. It's all meant to bring us into the Great Reset. Let's be clear. At the same time, Iran's ally, Russia, has downed 103 drones, 12 ATACMS missiles in past 24 hours alone. So we are getting some pretty crazy news. Let's go into what Zero Hedge is saying here. It says there are breaking reports of the Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi has been in a helicopter crash in a remote northern area of the country, and that rescuers are trying to reach him and his crew. State media currently is currently calling it a hard landing, suggesting that the president is alive and well. However, no other details on the precise nature of the helicopter incident have been revealed, according to the New York Times. 16 rescue teams have been dispatched to locate the helicopter. However, inclement weather are hampering the effort, according to the reports. The team have failed to locate the crash after nearly 5 hours, according to the latest via Al Jazeera, citing state media. Adverse weather conditions, including heavy fog, are hampering rescue efforts, and the helicopter is still missing. Iran's Fars news agency calls on Iranians to pray for President Raisi. So this is getting weird. I've seen multiple posts on social media telling people to pray for him out of Iran. It says, what is known is that Raisi's helicopter went down while in the country's eastern Azerbaijan province, and that it happened near the border city of Julfa. and up to 3 helicopters total made up the air convoy at the time. And I quote, given the complexities of the region, connection has been difficult, and we are hoping that the rescue teams reach the helicopter and can give us information, said Iran's Interior Minister Ahmad Vahidi on state television. State-run IRNA news agency indicated that among the officials aboard the aircraft included Iran's Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian. I'm bad with these names. The Associated Press has quoted at least one Iranian official to say it was a crash and there was an urgent rescue mission currently underway in a forested area. One local government official used the word crash to describe the incident, but he acknowledged to an Iranian newspaper that he had yet to reach the site himself. Rescuers were attempting to reach the site, state TV said, but had been hampered by poor weather conditions. There had been heavy rain and fog reported with some wind. IRNA called the area a forest. It appears Raisi was traveling in connection with the trip to Azerbaijan earlier in the day, where he had overseen the inauguration of a dam with Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev this morning. Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency has stated on X Sunday some of the president's companions on the helicopter were able to communicate with central headquarters, raising hopes that the incident could have ended without casualties. This is getting very, very strange. Video footage shows the head of the Islamic Republic on board shortly before the helicopter made a hard landing in the mountain terrain due to foggy conditions, says Russian Market on Twitter. We can't confirm any of that, but thus far, initial reports indicate that Raisi has survived the incident. But again, the hard landing appears to be a significant and possibly far worse than what state media is letting on. The fact that a rescue team has yet to even reach the location of the downed helicopter means this could be a potential casualty situation involving top officials. What they aren't mentioning is that they said previously that it was that he had continued in a car after the hard landing and that he was all right. They've changed the story multiple times, both the West and the East. And I find this very strange. Of course, we just had the Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico shot. And I've said that what we are dealing with is a scripted move into chaos, bringing order in a World War III type situation. This isn't a fearmonger. It's what they themselves say they've been trying to do for a while. And I've said we're going to see a lot of false flags. What I'm seeing here is, I mean, remember, we have multiple examples of world leaders going down in crashes in the past. We have, of course, this call for war with Iran, between Israel and Iran. Remember, Iran was propped up after a coup in 1953. And then, of course, the Ayatollahs took over and they say they were fighting the CIA. But where did they get their weapons from, my friends? It's all part of a hoax. The Ukrainian government, they, of course, Maidan Massacre 2014, total false flag by the West and Mossad and the MI6. And then that led into the creation of a coup state, which leads to what the war we're seeing is today. Of course, Ukrainians are actually putting down arms and running away from a lot of these sites in the Kharkov region, where there's a lot of war that's been escalated lately. Russia also propped up by the U.S. in World War I and World War II. Same with Israel, and Israel funded Hamas and armed Hamas. Of course, the United Nations, and of course, China, which is now replacing the U.S. as a world empire with BRICS, which we did a recent video on. There is so much here, and I believe that this is a scripted out event to cause order out of chaos, to force us into emergency orders, which the UN themselves says they're going to do. They're calling for conscription. They're calling for war with Iran. Iran has been attacked multiple times, including many major leaders in Iran killed just in 2020 is a good example. Soleimani, and being killed in Iraq, of course, where they said that they were fighting in Iraq. The U.S. government, was fighting in Iraq to give them democracy, but then the Iraqi parliament voted the U.S. out, and the U.S. said, no, we're not leaving. Our democracy, not yours. Our two wolves and a sheep deciding what to have for dinner, not yours. I mean, it is absurd. What we are witnessing here is so clean cut. We're witnessing one issue after another. We saw the false flag with Iran attacking Israel recently. Somehow Israel stands down for hours on end while people run into the country that they armed in the first place on October 7th. And of course, after the Israeli military moved the music festival to the border at the last second. They stood down. Israeli military helicopters killed their own people. And of course, after all that was said and done, we find out that there was a thing called Operation Jericho Wall, which talked about years ago how that exact scenario would play out. Israel was involved in 9/11, dancing Israelis, the art students, all that kind of stuff, the fuse bombs found in photos in the background in the building, all that kind of stuff. So Israel stands down, and they have all this power, but they stand down that day, and it takes them 3 hours to do anything on October 7th. But somehow they are able to they're not able to stop Iranian missiles for hours flying towards them and then hitting them. It's absurd. The whole thing's absolutely absurd. It's all about the Greater Israel Project, building the new temple, destroying the Dome of the Mount, and then of course building a Tower of Babel worldwide under emergency orders where everyone is enslaved to technocracy because of all of this. It is so clear. So yeah, we have Slovakia, of course, Robert Fico being shot, which matched up similarly to what we reported on in January with the leaked German government documents about the lead up to World War III. We have Russia, which is a friend of Iran, and of course, a friend of Syria, and of course, Israel, which was previously a friend of Russia, but now is a friend of Ukraine. And of course, what do they all have in common? They were all propped up by the West in the first place. It's, again, don't buy this stuff. I don't know if he's dead or alive. By the time this video comes out, we might know. But what I don't find normal is how many conflicting stories they have to be. Half of these stories, more than half of these stories, have to be made up out of absolute nowhere. Not just the game of telephone, but literally someone going out of their way to lie, because you can't have so many separate different stories on a breaking story. Remember years ago, we heard that Kim Jong-un was dead. Maybe he is, maybe he was replaced. Same with, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and people like that. Possibly. The point is, though, we always hear stories and they're always conflicting. And then we wonder for years what happened and we never get a full answer. It makes sense if, first of all, Azerbaijan has, even though they're Islamic, they've worked with Iran for many years. I should point out that they have played both sides with Iran and Israel as well in the past, especially what has gone on around Armenia and places like that. So that is worth pointing out as well. Interesting that he's going there and then suddenly goes to cloud. Some people say cloud seeding. I don't know. I'm going to throw out every single possibility here as I can, but I don't know. It's just speculation, but things are strange out there, my friends, and it's all by design in order to, first, scare us, second, bring the world into chaos so that they can come in as a solution to the problem they created in the first place. And that is, of course, the Great Reset, which needs that crisis, needs an economic crisis, food supply crisis, grid crisis, housing crisis, so you will own nothing. The move into the CBDCs, demoralization of the people, and the collapse of the West in order to move into the East, which Klaus Schwab says China is a role model for the Great Reset, which was propped up by the U.S. in the first place. All of this stuff leads down a certain path. The eugenics that we're seeing across the board, worth questioning. Anyway, with that said, it is all speculation, and I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, but this is yet another crazy news story, and we have to report on it. But anyway, as I close this off, I urge people to check those links below and get prepared for whatever is coming next, whatever story we're hearing, whatever conflicting story we're hearing, no matter what. They're coming after us. They're coming for the throat. We need to get prepared. Go to heavensharvest.com for long-term storable food that's non-GMO. There's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and get 5% off and free shipping on your order. Again, it's crazy not to get prepared in this day and age when everything is happening the way it is right now. And you're saving money. You're getting larger actual serving sizes here, and it's organic, and you don't have to worry about food rations in Bill Gates lines later on eating bugs. And speaking of that, it's also good to support the farmers. We have Wild Pastures, 20% off for life, plus $15 off your first box, 100% grass-fed and finished beef, pasture-raised pork, pasture-raised chicken, and wild-caught seafood. No mRNA, no modified RNA, no hormones, antibiotics, GMOs, pesticides, or any chemical of any kind. Raised on regenerative family farms in 48 U.S. states, delivered to your door, temperature controlled. Make sure to check that link in the description. And of course, it's customizable as you see fit. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to not be enslaved by CBDCs. Go to firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult and make sure you buy physical gold and silver in your hands or in a vault or in an IRA through Mark Gonzalez. You'll get a free consultation and a complimentary investor package when you do that. You could go to the comments when you sign up and let him know that you found him through World Alternative Media or WAM. Really big way to avoid being enslaved later by the Great Reset. So check that link in the description. That's firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ has to be that exact link, my friend. So make sure you find that. There's madtrapnutrition.com for 100% organic Peruvian coffee from Jaymie Icke over at Ickonic. Of course, there is Manuka honey available as well. Use code JOSH, JOSH, and you save money. And speaking about saving money, you could also go and check out rncstore.com, Richardson Nutritional Center, your source for Laetrile online, made famous by G. Edward Griffin's book, World Without Cancer. Get your apricot seeds, Laetrile, amygdalin, and vitamin B17 there. Make sure to use code JOSH, JOSH, and you save money on this order. I believe it could save lives, and I think it's important to stock up on before it's illegal. So go and check that out, rncstore.com. Again, that's code JOSH, JOSH. And thank you to everyone who supported us. We could not survive without you, and I hope you guys continue to find ways to help support us, whether it's sharing or there's our gogetfunding.com, Patreon, Subscribe Start. We have a Bitcoin address and we have a Cointree link with a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in if you please, including privacy coins. Those are important, of course, in escaping technocracy. We have a PayPal, Ancient Wonders Television at gmail.com. And of course, you can find our merchandise over at Teespring, which of course is in the description as well. As always, you can find us on Telegram, Rockfin, Band.video, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, and Brighteon at World Alternative Media. You can find us on Hive, Steemit, and Vigilante.tv at Josh Sigurdson, and on the Bad Guys, TikTok and Instagram, World Alternative Media, Twitter, and Getter at World Alt Media, and all the major podcast platforms except for Spotify, where we, of course, were banned, like YouTube. Though if you're watching this at Josh Sigurdson on YouTube, maybe you'll find a couple of these videos here and there, but most of them are on Rumble and BitChute, etc. So make sure to check that out, and Twitter, of course. Hit that like button, share on social media, hit the notification bell, and hit subscribe if you have not yet already. And as always, we'll continue to update on all of you on this issue as we find out more, obviously. Live by example, live freely always. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.